We just want to know where. Okay, scope of work.
Good afternoon. The September 19, 2024 meeting of the Escambia Children's Trust Board of Directors is being called to order at 5:31 p.m. This is the reschedule of the September 11th meeting, which was canceled due to inclement weather from the hurricane. Please turn off cell phones and place them on silent. If anyone wishes to present during public comment, please complete the public comment form located on the table to the left of the podium and turn it in to Ms. Alma. Ms. Alma, would you please proceed with roll call?
Ms. Woods?
Present.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Peden?
Here.
Dr. Northup? Mr. Leonard? Here. Ms. Kane?
Here.
Commissioner May? Ms. White? Judge Williams?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, everyone please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. If everyone has had time to review the agenda, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? If not, approval of the agenda. Now on to the approval of the minutes. May I get a sec? The staff recommends the board approve the minutes from the August 13, 2024 regular board meeting as presented. May I have a motion?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
No, any opposed? Motion passes. We are moving on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Peden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You'll see the financial highlights in your packet. I'm just going to thank Tammy Abrams for her work on this. As always, I think she does a phenomenal job for us. There were no unusual expenditures or transactions that were conducted during the month. I think we know the outcome of what happened recently at the County Commission meeting about the CRA of paying that debt. So I think we're in line to pay that debt. I don't think the exemption was given either. That's correct, right? We had of going back, right?
No, they did not grant the exemption.
So we owe them the.
And they've remitted an invoice that we have to pay within 45 days.
Okay, so we're gonna take care of that, and so that's, and I believe, and now with the city, we're on that's discussions with the city with their CRA, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we're going to be having some discussions. I think that Mayor Reeves has done a great job of wanting to work in partnership, and he's been very interested in our ITB, specifically because Global Learning Academy and, of course, O.J. Sims are within the city. So he's been wanting to work collaboratively all along.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. Is there any questions about the financial report? If not, we'll submit it for future audit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peden. Do we have any public comment for today's meeting? If not, now we have a special presentation for the board. If one of the representatives from Pensacola Children's Chorus would like to come up and introduce themselves.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Gartner. I'm the Artistic and Executive Director of the Pensacola Children's Chorus, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here today to speak on behalf of our program, Sing to Succeed, a funded program of the Out of School Time Initiative of the Escambia Children's Trust. Of course, I think, sorry, I don't know what's happening with the screen. Oh, cool. I want you to imagine for a second that we're here on Wednesday, September 11th, where the weather is sunny and not raining, and I had about 25 kids standing right here, and they were going to sing this song for you. I'm only going to give you 10 seconds of it. It builds into a very big, rousing chorus, but the lyrics are really important there because they encapsulate very much what is important to us with Sing to Succeed. That circle that we're trying to draw a little bit wider allows us to take a look at those people who are outside of our circle and invite them in. And that is really what the core of Sing to Succeed is. It is unique among many of the Children's Trust funded programs for out-of-school time, and the fact that it is not a standalone just for ECT children. It's part of a larger program that's been going on for over 3 decades, where singers who qualify for the Escambia Children's Trust are part and integrated into a larger program with 250 other kids from across Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. And of course, the ones who are here, for the record, are live in Escambia County, of course. But the beauty of what the Sing to Succeed does is it exposes kids of all walks of life to people who are outside of their lived experience. And that allows opportunity to see themselves a little bit differently. That expands their view of themselves and what their future can be. And that's really important and a central tenet of what Sing to Succeed is. Now, I'm not going to lie, I am very aware of some comments that have been made not with these people, but perhaps in this room about the question of why programs like the Pensacola Children's Chorus and other arts programs are a part of the Escambia Children's Trust. And to tackle that a little bit, I want to look a little bit at what our mission is. And as adults, we are, after all adults in the room, we filter our experience through the eyes that we see now, of course. And as adults, including myself, I look at the arts in one way as a means of entertainment, and that is a very big part of what the Pensacola Children's Chorus and Arts programs are. We engage our community through inspirational musical experiences. If you have been around Pensacola for a while, which all of you have, we perform at the Sanger. We've been performing for decades. And performance is a really important part of what we do, but that is not the core of what we do. Performance is just the vehicle that we use to get to the core of what we actually do, which is to foster the personal and social growth of our singers. We are a data-driven organization, and that is why we are here today and why we are grateful to be funded by the Escambia Children's Trust, because we have the data that proves that the kids who go through our program, regardless of their walk of life, gain essential life skills that help them grow into successful adults. The nucleus of what we do at the Children's Chorus is this personal and social growth of our singers. Through this and through our program of Sing to Succeed, we emphasize life skills, and specifically soft skills, which are responsibility, accountability, independence, confidence, empathy, and teamwork. These are things that can only be developed in very specific settings. It's really hard to do that in an academic classroom where you're only focused on your one grade and your one performance on that standardized test. And the collaborative environment that the performing arts provide, we're able to nuance this a little bit more. And what's great is that it's inherently built in. And so we have a lot of success in that. We do this primarily through arts education and performance, which are the 2 tenets of our mission. We flank this through a few other things that our kids are exposed to: leadership opportunities, intentional community development, internship opportunities, and a family atmosphere that we intentionally cultivate with student leaders. And this all helps us lean toward a shared vision that we have at the Children's Chorus of a generation that is shaped and changed by really powerful young people who are going to step into the leadership roles when we are all not here anymore. So that, of course, is what Sing to Succeed is. So as an integrated program, the question does become like, what's happening with just the Children's Trust kids? And I get that. And luckily, we do segment our evaluative processes to understand what the impact is happening, what impact is happening on those kids. And I'm grateful to say that it's working. 85% of our singers feel a sense of belonging. 90% feel that they could positively contribute to our community. 95% develop better friendships. 85% feel better about themselves. 95% feel good about how they perform. 95% feel more confident in themselves. Now, these are not markers on a standardized test, but the arts aren't standardized, so we don't fit into that mold. However, the things that we teach are skills that transcend the classroom. They carry us through all stages of our lives. They're not exclusive to one profession. They're not exclusive to one path to career. They are exclusive only to our ability to harness them to garner success for ourselves and the rest of our lives. We are very grateful to be in year 2 of our Escambia Children's Trust project. You can see in gold, this is our ratio of singers that are funded by the trust in gold, I said, with the rest in blue. So we're at about, we're very slowly approaching our target. We were a little under last year, but we're already on the right track to meet our year 2 target, and we'll probably do that by January. So I just want to share a few photos in absence of our singers. They would be really great over here smiling at you. This is a wonderful shot from our camp. We have, again, these are all integrated, but we do have the singer right directly in front. He actually joined our summer program for the first time and has enrolled in our regular program. We've got 2 singers, yeah, I know, karaokeing, having a great time, Noah on the right and Josue on the left. Both never been part of our program before and have developed incredible friendships. Jairus in the middle, if you had the opportunity to come see their latest performance at Showtime, he was running around the Sanger Theater screaming "Mana at full volume for an entire week, and it was a joy for everyone. Navi in the middle is a really special case for us. Her family is going through some very intense medical scares, and they weren't going to be able to participate this year because transportation was an issue for them, but we were able to find a way. And Navi has been in our quarterly reports one of our success stories that her family does share a lot with us about the impact that our program has made on her family. And that's all of them together. What I love about this was at the end of our spring concert last year. What I love about this photo is that you can't tell which kid is what. And that in many respects, at least for me, as an educator of almost 2 decades now, in both inner city schools and in after school activities in large cities and cities like ours, the opportunity for a kid to not feel othered is very important to me, where that they feel that they are part of something, not by the label that they fit, but that the contributions that they make to their community. That's really important to us, and that's what is the core of what we do at Sing to Succeed and with the Pensacola Children's Chorus. So, in conclusion, I do hope that I can bring those singers back here so they can actually sing for you. I know I am a wonderful fill-in for them, but they're much better representatives than I about the impact of what they can do and the impact that our program is having. So we're very grateful to all of you for supporting us, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you. I did have a question for you.
Oh. Yes, Troy.
I know you mentioned the slide. What are your numbers? What was the target?
The target for year 2, I believe, is like 65.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm making that up. Actually, I think it's actually 85. And now I'm turning this song back on again. It is in your program report, I believe.
I can check that.
I believe 85 is our second year, and at the start of this year, we're at half of that. And so we have another enrollment period that ends in January, and so we're hoping to reach that this year.
And how many performances do you do?
The Children's Trust singers participate within our main 4-line. We have 3 main performances, and we have 4 main performances, and we have kids participating in all 4 of them. But the Children's Chorus puts on 40 different concerts a year, and so it varies based on which choir that they're a part of, how many they'll do.
And would you mind sending an email so maybe we can come and watch one of those performances?
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank
We've invited in the past, but the process to doing that was a little murky, but we would love to have you all there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a grasp on why? I'm glad that the numbers are as good as they are. Those are good numbers. My question is, do you have a grasp on how to get them up to I think it says the 85 goal?
Our largest challenge is transportation. In our grant program, or in our grant proposal, we did not include a vehicle. Recognizing that a vehicle is a fixed amount of kids that we could get. We work with targeted schools in our proximity, and we work on personalized transportation plans among the resources that we have. But without a centralized, and I know many out-of-school time programs are struggling with transportation, especially those who don't have access to a direct vehicle. But we're always looking for opportunities to get more kids in. But that's the biggest challenge that we have is transportation.
Well, that was my question. When I looked at one of your objectives was, I was just going to ask you, how do you solve that problem? You said 100% of participants receive personalized transportation. How do you do that?
We have a program manager that works with the families directly as part of our registration process. They have a list of transportation options available to them. They get to self-select whether the parent can personally transport. They can transport them just one way or the other way. And then we work with we incentivize with gas gift cards. We have carpool opportunities. So we find a way for everybody to be there. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tori. And thank you, everyone.
Moving on to the business portion of the meeting, Ms. Cannon, I understand you have a few things to present.
Yes, a few things. So I'm sorry, it's a thick packet this week. But we have our finalized out of school time programs report. So if you remember, we were looking at this when contracts were renewed at March 1st, which did not give us our end of school year metrics. And so I know that it is a long report. I will give all the praise to our team for putting this together. But this should be something that we publish going forward as our formal results. So I know it's a lot to read. And Alex, it was 105 kids over 3 years that they were serving. So they're well on their way and probably serving more than what they had committed to. But that sort of information's in here. I don't know if you've had a chance to go through all of it. The beginning really gives you some of our census tracts, what we're looking at there overall in our OST programs, and then and where those programs lie. I feel like this is a really great sheet. It's, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It's like the third page. It looks like this. This is a really great one. It shows you where our programs lie and where our funds are being concentrated. And that's also a guide for us moving forward as well as to what we need to be doing in our community from a larger perspective. And then we have it broken down by each organization and what they were contracted for, what their actuals were, and then their individualized outcomes for their program as proposed. All of these, I would say, have been working very hard. They're all on positive trajectories for year 2. So if there are any questions about that, we can go through them.
Guess I'm giving, any questions from anyone about the presentation from Lindsay? If not, Lindsay, thank you. And now we have a few recommendations from the program committee. Is that where we are? Right. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, Lindsay. I'm on the wrong one. Recommendation from the program committee for the scope of work change for Youth Left Behind. Right?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Can you go to the presentation of year-end mental health programs?
I'm on the right, hold on. Where are we? On page 3, right? The presentation for the year-end, okay, yes, year-end mental health program report. Are you gonna present on that one now? That's this one.
Yes.
Do you have the
that's this one.
budgets for these? Are they in here?
Yes, they are.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
What you have in the larger packet that Alma's put together, thank you, Alma. She always makes it nice for us. This is similar to what you all saw at the end of last year when we were looking at OST and recommendations for renewal or non-renewal at that time. This report, we wanted to keep it as uniform as possible for you so that it was similar in nature. We did give a little bit more detail and of course some fun pictures for you to look at. But wanted to answer some of those questions that continue to come up. So some of the things that you will see in this particular report is what their project total was financially, what they actually have drawn down as of June 30th. So at the time when we were looking at this, I want to remind you that we didn't have all of the financials at that time, but wanted to look at what that looked like and to make sure that they were on an upward trajectory related to attendance. And then we also balanced that with what their actual cost per participant was. So I know that we don't bill that way, like cost per participant, but it does allow us to take that overall budget and how many kids they're serving and come up with that number. Most of them are on track for that. One of the things that we did look at as well is the number served through July 31st. So we could actually look to see, are they actually increasing month over month in attendance and kids that are recruited? But the financial end's only going to be through June 30th with those numbers. So that's what you're looking at in here. We do recommend moving forward for year 2 renewals with all of our 5 contracts.
So I have a question for the Pride program. They served 69 out of 100. And was their budget last year the 258 or was it the 218?
It was their first year, so it was 218.
218. So they used all of the money, but they served 70% of the kids, the 70%.
So this is, no. They, as of June 30th, they've only used 95,000 from
What
the
pages?
218. Sorry, it's on page 14.
Okay.
At the bottom, there's a chart down there. So they're looking at 100 participants per year over 3 years. So increasing the volume of that football team. This is our program, if you all remember, that's integrated with the Pensacola High School football team and working with them. So their project total for the 3 years was $762,000. Their first year budget was $218,902. So at this point, the total used was about 44% as of 6/30, which was 95,000. So they still have 123 left for July, August, September that they could potentially draw down. So when we did the cost comparison here, they looked at, they were going to serve 100 kids. At this point, as of June 30th, they had served 69. When you compare that to what they've actually billed down for the year at that point, their actual amount per participant was $13.87 and some change, and their projected amount was $21. So they actually are coming in under budget
Under
per
the-
participant.
The actual, so the 1,000, okay, 387. And then there's another one.
So when you look at the next page, so Tori, if you'll switch to page 16, just to show you guys, when I was talking about the data running through July, because we wanted to measure, are we seeing upward trajectory? And we had that information. What you'll see at this point, compared to June, they had 69 youth. By the end of July, there were 73. So they are on that upward trajectory in meeting their goals. And of course, they have that until September 30th to hit that.
And were any of these one of the organizations that had that extra percentage in here, and have we asked them about that, where that money was being used?
The extra percentage, I'm sorry.
Like the, I would have to find another budget, but it was like a percentage I had asked you about that they can ask for.
Are
And
you
I-
talking about indirect?
Yes.
Yes, they do have indirect in their budget.
Have we asked them about that funding?
We have not. We're meeting next week
And could we
to
could
have a
ask them?
discussion about budget, yes.
Thank you.
Now, we've met for the budget going forward,
Yes.
which you have in here, but looking at them as an overall organization, one of the things we've learned with some of our smaller organizations is, and the Lamplighters is a great example, they were a parent-paid type of program, and it was a struggle for families. And so with our funding, not only through Pride, but through the out-of-school time, they've become almost like a $400,000 organization, and that's a huge shift from a grassroots mentality around budgeting and organizational structure. And so we'll be meeting with them to kind of talk about that and what that looks like in our relationship and how we can support.
And I mean, not just them, but like the other ones
Oh,
as well?
yes,
okay.
yes.
I wasn't just,
Well,
Talk-
and part of,
asking about
and so
this.
just to clarify for the rest of the board, we had a conversation about indirect, which is usually a percentage of the budget. It's 10 to 15%, 15 is our cap on what we will redirect. That's typically used for the things that are non-program related but are essential. So your HR, your MIS, you know, our IT guys, and other sort of administrative services that you have. One of the things we have not required is a breakdown of the percentage of what that looks like within an organization. Some of our larger ones will have that. They'll know the exact percentage of that that's going to these particular departments. So there's another place where we need to, some of them will have that right away, and others are going to need to think that through. So we do need to work on that with our smaller nonprofits.
so are we moving forward with the recommendation?
I would recommend that we move forward with supporting and renewing these 5 contracts for next year, for a second year.
So the program committee recommends approval of the resolution 2024-10, allowing the year 2 renewal of all 5 mental health programs as shown below. The Boys and Girls Club of Emerald Coast at $1,859. New World Believers at $570,236. Youth Left Behind at $128,055. Twin Oaks at $1,094,347, and Lamplighters Pride at $258,635. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved. I'll second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. Next, we have the Early Learning Coalition Readiness Match Program. Year 2 renewal.
Yes, we just need a formal approval on that. We've discussed that in our program committee as well. That's our match funding. That is for school readiness match, which allows for full day for working parents to support their child care needs.
The program committee recommends approval of the resolution 2024-11 for year 2 renewal of the ELC School Readiness Match Program as presented. May I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. And we're moving on to the Children's Home Society Sole Source Pine Forest High School Program Year 3 renewal.
And this is a renewal for match to the University of Central Florida program that supports wellness and PBS activities as part of the Community Partnership School at Pine Forest. This will be the 3rd year of funding for this as originally proposed. And so we recommend moving forward. They're hitting all their numbers very successfully and seeing really great results from that.
The program committee recommends approval of the resolution 2024-12 for year 3 renewal of the Children's Home Society Sole Source Pine Forest High School Program as presented. May I have a motion?
So move.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And final item for consideration is the scope of work change for Youth Left Behind. Ms. Cannon, would you like to give background information on this change?
Yes, this is a unique one that's hit our desk. We have Mr. Hills here, who's done a really phenomenal job in getting in some of our most vulnerable communities with young men. He's so much so that he's gotten notoriety from the judicial system, that are ordering kids into his program. They want them to be a part of it. They feel that it is something very successful. The sheriff is also supported in a variety of ways, as well as DJJ. The problem with that is it comes outside of the 32505 and 01 zip codes, which the mental health contract RFP was originally designed for. He does not want to say no to judges. We do not want to say no to that when we have a vulnerable kid that's right on the verge of that and needs that support. He's also found that he has a younger population that's coming regularly, and they're in very vulnerable places too that he would like to serve. So we would like to recommend a scope of work change where we expand that age group to 9, which is one of the youngest that he has in there, but also remove some of those barriers for our children that are being referred by the court system or DJJ to participate in his program. And I would say that would be a really positive change.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
And then I believe he wanted to have a
Yes.
public comment, so.
You didn't have to sell us on this one.
How everybody doing this evening? My name is Hassan Hills, and I'm the founder and director of Youth Left Behind, a nonprofit organization here in Escambia County. And we've been in business for 2 years. During these past 2 years, we are trying to identify and help young men reach new horizons in life. And by doing so, we try to connect with them and meet them right where they're at and provide the resources. And when we can provide the resources, we do referrals for people that offer services outside of our scope. One of the barriers that we came up with is that today I might pick up a kid from Godfrey Street, him and his brother. Next week, I might pick him up from Lincoln Park. The week after that, he might be at Marino Court at his auntie house. And the reason being is because the family is unstable dealing with housing. I don't think that a child should suffer from living in a different zip code because of the conditions of his family. We have families that come in our program that become homeless and they live in a hotel room. So that makes us have to either pick them up first or drop them off last, because we want the confidentiality of what they're going through to be between the organization and the staff and not with the other kids. I've been working with DJJ, Judge Harris in particular, and all the probation officers. I've had 15 referrals in this past year from DJJ, and I have a comprehensive style curriculum that I created that I'm capturing the effectiveness of it through people that has a lived life experience of getting in trouble and seeing how it can help them. And we have a 100% success rate. All 15 kids that was referred to me from DJJ this past year has not reoffended. They completed their community service hours. They came to the program. They went to the Red Cross and throughout the community and did community service hours. And out of every kid that I served this year, every last one of them maintained a 2.0 grade point average. I believe that Youth Left Behind is a grassroots organization, and we have the support of the community that believes in us. And we're not just interested in being a nonprofit, we're committed. We serve on days that's not funded by ECT. We partnership with the Sheriff Department, and we take children and enroll them in the Blazer Academy. 4 to 5 of our kids, every time they have the Blazer Academy, they're enrolled in there. And then they get to come back to the group and nominate another kid to go in the Blazer Academy for the next time. Where we're at now, we're in Montclair, and we all know that we're dealing with gun violence and all that inside those neighborhoods. I believe, well, I know I am the only program of this kind in that neighborhood, and is well needed. The measures of security, I've worked with the property manager there. We've put a whole brand new camera system up that's not funded through ECT. They put a brand new gate up with a code. Our partnership with the Sheriff Department, and I contacted them, and they're going to activate those cameras through the Real Life Crime Center. Why? Because just a mile up the road, we got people getting shot, and I have people, children, in this building, and I want to ensure them that their child is safe. Our security staff, we have a wand. Every kid that come to our program, they get wand down before they come in. I want to make sure people are safe. We have a security staff for the ones that get dropped off. They must get picked back up in the same car that they got dropped off in. If your auntie drop you off in a Blue Maximum, your auntie got to come back and pick you up. You can't go to your cousin's house. Your dad can't come get you unless somebody call and make contact with one of the staff members that somebody else be coming to get you. Those are the measures that we're putting in place to ensure the well-being and safety of our children. We plan on working with the school district, getting into the schools, figuring out how we can work with kids that's receiving referrals and keep them in school if they come through our program and do the right thing, put that inside of a band and see how they do with the program instead of sending them to ISS, instead of sending them into an alternative school. So I'm at the alternative school now. I'm at Achieve Academy. I went to their open house yesterday. We had our resource table there with the programs that we have, and we had about 9 children sign up for our program from Achieve Academy. So I believe that we're taking the proper steps to hit the communities and hit the children that need us the most. All kids need us, but some of them need us more than others. And sad to say, the children that I serve require just a little bit more of me. I heard you all talking about how much it costs to serve a child. It costs us roughly $2,000 to serve a child. ECT pays for a little bit over $1,300 if I'm not mistaken. But to serve the children that I serve and get the outcomes that I get, it costs a little bit over $2,000 for us to do it. All my staff are on in-kind time. They work half of the time and they get paid for the other half. Because they're not interested, they committed. I myself, I donate my time as well. None of us get paid overtime because the children that we serve are our future, and we have to put them on a path to success and show them that more excellent way through this comprehensive mentorship. Last but not least, barrier. Our biggest barrier is transportation. Before we got this grant, we didn't have transportation. We had staff members carpooling children to our program. The Escambia County Sheriff Department said they wanted to build a bridge and not a barrier and bought us a van, a 7-passenger van. We pick up 21 to 27 kids every Tuesday to get to our program with a 7-passenger van. So we have to make 3 and 4 trips to get these kids to our program. Not only that, school don't get out to sometime 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. Our program starts at 6. Our van picking up at Pensacola High School at 3:10. We start picking them up from school to get that group there first, so that way we can have everybody there by 6:30. So one of the things that we're working on, we're reaching out to outside funding. We've applied for several grants here in the past year, and we got some of them. But we need to figure out a way that we can come up with some funding because we need a 15-passenger van in order to be able to provide our services to the children that need it the most, and we're working on that. So I want to thank you all for allowing us to work in the community with the children, and I want to thank the staff at the Trust who always there to listen to what I got to say or what I need help with. I call them every time. I'm not perfect. This is new to me, but I'm connecting with the children and I'm trying to meet the need of the children. And in order to do that, we as the village have to put our heads together and represent them and bring forth what we need to bring forth on a holistic approach. And I thank you all for everything.
Thank you.
I have a question, and maybe,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you or Judge Williams might can answer this, but students that come through your program and completed their record, is it expunged at a certain age, or do they get a start over if they complete?
It would, if it's ordered as a term, it depends on how it's ordered. If it's ordered as a term of probation, it would be them successfully completing probation. That would not necessarily go off their record. If there are a number of diversionary programs that the state attorney's office has that are at their discretion, if it were ordered for that purpose, it could result in a dismissal to where it would not be on the record. So it depends on how it's what stage it's ordered and by whom.
And I say that because I love the success of your program. I think kids need a new start. If they
Yes.
go through and do all they're supposed to do, I'd love to see them as an adult have an opportunity to go to college, go in the military,
Yes,
or
sir.
whatever.
A lot of them come through the teen court, and that's a sanction to where if they complete everything and don't reoffend, then it won't be on their record or the charges won't come against. So one of the barriers was how would they complete community service and how would they write their essay, and they have to donate 12 canned goods. So I bring that comprehensive style. You get arrested and you go before one of these judges, court order them to my program. And I'm going to ensure that they do what they need to do and provide the services for them. And then once they complete our program, we want to refer them out to other ECT-funded programs to do a wraparound service to where we all can have a connection with these kids for a whole year and not just 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 6 weeks. 8 weeks of working with the children I work with is setting them up for failure. They need continuing care year-round based upon the lack of resources and the lack of guidance that they've had from a child. So that's the approach that I take. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we,
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
on that, clearly the board's in support, as am I, but due to the obvious nature that it's court ordered in many instances, I need to reflect that I'm abstaining from that vote.
okay. Now, under operations, we have ratification of resolution 2024-13, allowing for the executive director to enter into a contract with Children's Home Society for a sole source grant, placing navigators into schools. This item was presented, voted on, and approved at the May 14, 2024 board meeting. May I have a motion to approve?
Did we vote on the scope of work for the youth left behind? Did we need to vote on that?
We did that before he came up. Did we? Right? We did.
I couldn't hear the question.
Yeah, we did, we voted on his before he.
We did vote on this. We did not have the resolution at that time. We do have a contract, but we need a resolution, so we're ratifying that today.
Okay. So we need a motion, may I have a motion?
That's it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, so that is passed. Lindsay, do I have an executive director's report?
Mr. Williams did, seconded it.
Oh,
I
second.
think Mr. Leonard made the motion and Mr.
What I say?
Williams seconded it.
I need to speak up.
Okay. How about presenting? I do it every time, Michael. I've got it up. It might be, that looks like that. There we go, there we go. All right. So this was supposed to be September 11th, so we'll update that. I just want to give you guys an update on the board applications. So that's been reposted twice now, I believe. It's going to close out again on Friday. They're doing shorter periods of time. It's not like it's been open for a month and we're reposting. It's like a week and a half, I think, something like that at the time, maybe 2 weeks altogether. We do have applicants. For the positions, we do not have 3 per each position, just so you know. So we're hoping, we've had people that are interested say they're going to apply. I don't know if they have or not, but Alma is keeping up with Jose at the county to let us know. So we may see that extended another period of time, but it is on, I believe, the agenda for October 4th, I think, at the county to vote on those particular names that are coming through. So hopefully we'll meet the metric on that one. Updates related to our committees that we've had. We've, of course, had Finance and Executive Committee. We held Program Committee on 8/19, and we are going to be holding a October 4th committee meeting for a Program Committee, specifically to talk about future funding. Tammy's actually worked on this today and did a really great job of looking at a 5-year scope, working through the TIF type of dollars, looking at what we have, if we want to renew out of school time, if we want to renew doing more mental health contracts, what we would have that could be put into new funding. And we've got some ideas around the different types of funding that we could offer with those type of, with the type of money that we're going to have. It's not going to be millions like it has in the past, just because of the rolling nature of it. We'll probably recapture some dollars here and there if people don't spill, or organizations don't spend down. But we'll keep you posted on that. Something we'll bring to that program committee so they can look at it too and get a good idea of what we're looking at related to the finances as well. ITB is due tomorrow. Very excited for Healthy Schools. So we'll have next week to really look at it. We've had some system issues this week, which has been a real challenge. They updated SAMUS this week, which threw off all of our formulas. So Rick's been working diligently to try to get some of those resolved, and we're letting the applicants know we'll work with them if our system's not working. We'll make sure that they're able to submit timely. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention is I'm vetting multiple sole source applications, and I'm talking multiple. I'm going to bring those also to the program committee to show you what I'm getting. They're not sole source applications. A lot of them are actually really great after school programming or out of school time type programming. A lot of them bring a different flair to what an out of school time would be, but they're not type of sole source. We do have some coming that potentially will be, but we need to look at this and probably tighten up some of the language on our application and make sure that our community knows, because there are funding sources. One was a counselor, just give you an example. One was a counselor that wanted to provide child-parent psychotherapy, and she wanted us to help pay for that specifically for foster kids. So I called Northwest Florida Health Network, and they said, Medicaid pays for that, and we do a wraparound dollar amount for that. So I connected them in a matter of moments, and this woman hopefully is out there working with these kids right now because her skill set is very needed. But I think that there's this element of not understanding what systems are already serving, and so we're going to need to wrap our hands around that. So I just wanted to let you know that if people are interested in the community that say, I think I want to put in a sole source, have them call me first, or Deborah. We can at least talk that through with them before they spend time writing a whole proposal where there might already be funding available to them outside of us. So we're working through that. We completed all of our first time, as you saw with our mental health recommendations, we were able to do those collaborative meetings with our providers. So talking through outcomes, showing them these reports. This is what we're looking at. What does your budget look like for next year? How are you going to spend it? And then what do your outcomes look like? I think that was really successful in helping us as a team understand how we need to work together to support our providers, but also letting them understand how we're viewing it as well, and what our expectations are of each other. So really want to continue that process going forward with any contracts that we negotiate. It's just important that we all have a mutual understanding. We have in here, of course, the OST year-end drafts completed. Our mental health programming is completed, and you guys have already voted on that, so that's wonderful. Policy evaluation, we are going to add some language, hopefully, and vet this through our policy committee in the next month related to our scope of work and budget changes. What we had was the ability to do that, but no process embedded in that policy. So I've worked with Meredith to kind of put that together, but to give a if something happens to me or anyone else on our team, you're going to have a process so you understand how those things need to happen if you want to just do a budget versus scope of work, because a change in budget could really affect your scope of work, and a change in scope of work can really affect your budget. So we want to make sure that we're all on the same page with those. So we're going to be bringing that to policy committee and probably to y'all for the next board meeting. We are in the process of organizing a focus group related to the community violence, more of like a listening session with some prompting questions to try to understand what's happening. We do have a commitment from the Sheriff's Office as well as Pensacola PD to be involved with that process. We have a couple of our providers, including Hassan that said he'll be there, and Rodney Jones, that are also working with kids that are involved in some of these criminal activities, and what that looks like. We are not the people that are experts on this. So we've also asked some people that are in our community working on both ends of that from a nonprofit or a community perspective. Mr. Bennett, I think you sent me his number. He was very excited. He's the first one that came and said, we got to do something about the community violence, and spoke at our board meeting. He's very excited to be a part of it. He also is one of those that that is connected with the Leah Gibson Foundation, who's someone we've been talking with for a while. They're really working with those families, and I had no idea, on the other end that have lost someone, a child, and they're organized in groups, and they're looking for ways to support communities. So I think that there's a lot of things going on. We just need to pull some people together and understand what we want to see. We're not going to be the ones that are suppressing the violence. We would be the ones that are putting in programming and supports to help hopefully deviate from any of those things ever happening in their lives. So everybody's got a role. So we are going to organize that. If you know anyone that you feel like would be really important to that table, I would ask you to please let me know. And we'll get them there. So we're in the middle of just trying to find a day where you can get everybody to come in for like an hour or two. So we'll let you know as soon as that is scheduled. And our final trim hearing, of course, it was supposed to be scheduled for 9/16. It's now going to be scheduled for 9:30. Not at night, sorry, September 30th, let me say it that way. National Night Out, where some of our community, our communications and our outreach. National Night Out was really an awesome event. We did a parade of providers where we brought all of our providers together. We were also invited to Pride has put together this special program room. Mr. Williams got to go because his name's on the building and all of that. So they got to see the legend right there. It was really cool. But they've really built out this great space for these kids to come in and just be kids and be themselves, but to be able to provide services to them. It's really unique, and I think that program is something that could probably be replicated in other ways. But it has really built that team back. They started with 20 kids, and now there's like 100, I think, on that team. And they're winning some games, so even better. They're on their way back. And then we're also publications. So we're working on, now that we're kind of through this, as soon as we complete our mental health contracts as of 9/30, and then the other ones that end on 9/30/24, we're going to be wrapping in those year-end results and be creating our annual report that we will need to have published and posted at least on our website by December 31st. So, any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
On the community violence focus group, will you let us know that date, or let me know the date?
Yes, I definitely will.
I would
We
like
were-
to know
we
as well
were-
if I can make it. I'll try to come by.
Yeah, as soon as we get a solidified date, I'll let you guys know. I think we're going to probably do it during the morning time because some of our after-school providers, we don't want to do it in the afternoon. We want to go ahead and meet. We'll probably have just coffee and donuts and just talk. So, okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Meredith, did you have anything to present on the TIF or the Attorney General? I know I saw something, a paperwork.
Nothing specific to present. As was stated earlier, the county did not grant the exemption. We're continuing to research surrounding that, but at this point in time, there's a 45-day window for payment. As far as the Attorney General request for opinion, that's been submitted, so we would just be waiting for a response at this stage. And that was related to board member seats, not to the CRA.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments from the board?
I've got one.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you for your work on this. I think that the things that we approved tonight, I know that have been vetted. I feel really good that they've been looked into, and it makes it much easier to make decisions when you know that things are properly being vetted, looked at, and some things took some time to get to us because of that vetting process. So I appreciate the work you're doing and your staff. Thank you for your work.
I second that because I ask a lot of questions. All the time, all times of the day. And y'all are always very on it and don't mind my million questions about little things. So if not, anything else, no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 6:24. Thank you.